Wait, they discharged Maya during a known contamination window after executives were warned, while insured patients were kept inside. Who actually made that call, and why would that even be allowed?
The hospital is releasing you tonight. 19-year-old Maya Bennett stared at the discharge papers through a fever so intense the words blurred together. Her chest burned every time she breathed. Even sitting upright felt impossible. Then the nurse lowered her voice and said the sentence Maya would never forget. Without payment approval, there's nothing more we can do. Her mother, Denise, immediately started crying. Not loudly, quietly. The kind of crying people do when they already know they're losing someone. And the worst part? Security was already waiting near the elevator. Maya noticed strange things as they rolled her out of the hospital at 1:13 a.m. Nurses whispering. Doctors avoiding eye contact. One young nurse looked genuinely terrified while staring at Maya's chart. Then, right before the elevator doors closed, the nurse slipped folded lab papers into Maya's blanket and whispered, "Read this when you get home." Maya didn't understand what was happening yet. But 3 days later, the same hospital suddenly locked down the entire floor she'd been treated on. 3 days after the hospital threw her out, Maya woke up to 17 missed calls and one terrifying news alert. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Emergency quarantine procedures initiated at Westbridge Medical Center. Her stomach dropped. The TV showed hazmat teams entering the exact hospital floor she'd stayed on. Reporters stood outside behind police barricades while hospital staff rushed in wearing masks. What could possibly be so dangerous? Meanwhile, Maya was getting worse. Her fever climbed higher. Purple bruises spread across her arms overnight. Every cough felt like glass tearing through her lungs. Denise begged her to go back to the ER, but Maya refused. "Why?" she snapped weakly. "So they can throw me out again?" That night, her older brother Jordan unfolded the lab papers the nurse had hidden. One phrase was circled in yellow marker: unidentified bacterial exposure. Jordan froze. Suddenly, every weird moment at the hospital started making sense. The double gloves. The rushed discharge. The nurses whispering outside her room. Then Denise's phone rang again. Dr. Lawson.
For the fifth time that day.
But this time, his voice sounded different.
Not calm.
Afraid. And 30 minutes later, someone started pounding on their apartment door. "Miss Bennett, open the door right now." The voice outside sounded controlled, but barely. Maya sat frozen on the couch, wrapped in blankets, while Jordan peeked through the peephole. Two hospital administrators stood in the hallway beside a security officer. At nearly midnight. That alone felt wrong. "We just need Maya to return with us," one woman insisted. "This is now a public safety matter." Public safety? Jordan immediately started recording audio on his phone. Denise cracked the door slightly. "Why would the hospital suddenly care now?" she demanded. And that's when the man in the suit made a mistake. She may have been exposed during the containment window. Silence.
Containment?
Maya's blood ran cold. The administrators quickly changed their tone, but it was too late. Jordan had heard enough. So had Denise. The hospital knew something before they discharged her. Then Maya suddenly doubled over, coughing. A dark splash of blood hit the floor. Denise screamed. Minutes later, paramedics stormed into the apartment wearing full protective gear. Not regular masks. Full shields and gowns. And the second Maya arrived back at Westbridge Medical Center, everything changed. Doctors rushed around her room in panic. Machines beeped nonstop. Then Dr. Lawson entered alone, shut the door softly, and begged Denise not to speak to reporters. They knew before they sent her home. That sentence exploded across the internet less than 12 hours later. Jordan had leaked the audio recording. Now reporters surrounded Westbridge Medical Center day and night while federal investigators marched through the quarantined hospital floor carrying sealed evidence boxes. Inside intensive care, Maya lay isolated behind glass walls while doctors fought to stabilize the infection spreading through her lungs. And finally, the truth started surfacing. A surgical sterilization failure had exposed multiple patients to a dangerous antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Internal emails showed hospital executives were warned nearly 48 hours before Maya's discharge. But here's the part that made people furious. Insured patients were kept under observation. Uninsured patients were quietly released, including Maya. Dr. Lawson eventually admitted he argued against the decision, but administrators overruled him after calculating the cost of extended treatment for patients without coverage. Maya wasn't discharged because she was healthy. She was discharged because she was broke.
Wait, they already knew uninsured patients were getting released first during an outbreak. So who approved using payment status as a deciding factor?
Then Jordan uncovered one more horrifying detail hidden in the leaked emails. Maya's test results had actually shown the highest contamination markers on the entire floor, which meant hospital leadership knew she was one of the most dangerous cases and sent her home anyway. Maya spent 19 days in isolation before doctors finally told her she was going to survive. The moment she heard those words, she cried so hard she couldn't breathe. Denise held her hand the entire time, apologizing over and over for trusting the hospital in the first place. But the real shock came during the federal investigation. Hospital executives had secretly created a risk priority discharge list during the outbreak. Internal records proved uninsured patients were removed first to reduce financial losses and avoid panic before regulators arrived. Maya's name sat near the top, not because she was recovering, because she couldn't pay. Once the leaked emails became public, everything collapsed fast. Executives resigned. Multiple lawsuits were filed. Westbridge's quarantined surgical wing shut down permanently. Dr. Lawson testified against hospital leadership to avoid criminal charges. And Jordan's recording became the key piece of evidence investigators used to prove the cover-up. 6 months later, Maya returned to the hospital for one final interview standing outside the now-abandoned wing. "They thought nobody would care if a broke girl died," she said calmly. Then she looked directly into the camera. They were wrong.
If a hospital can discharge someone based on payment during a hidden outbreak, how many places are doing the same right now without anyone noticing?